If you are not a Malay and you are not a Muslim, it will be very challenging if you are clueless to the intricacies of Malay culture, tradition, history, and religion. Welcome to the Keris Collector Show, the ultimate vodcast for growing your collecting skills through online video. If this is the first time you are hearing the word Keris, a Keris is a traditional, asymmetrical double-edged dagger exclusively unique to the people from the Malay archipelago. My name is Kyrie Johari, better known as Pak Jofe, the Keris Collector from Singapore, and you are watching the Keris Collector Show. This channel is dedicated to helping you develop a healthy collecting habit and learn how to profit from the latest collecting trends, reviews, and helpful guides. On today's video, I am going to continue where I last left off. I will be sharing with you the basic foundations of what you need to know about Keris blades. So, if you are interested to increase your knowledge of this subject, the basics of a Keris blade, then this episode is definitely for you. So, without further ado, let's roll the intro and get on with the show. Do I need to powder my nose or something? Good, do I look good? Skills and God. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the Keris Collector Show. I hope you are all in good health and positive spirit always. We are at episode 8 of our weekly show. Slowly and steadily, we are heading towards the first 10 episodes. All this would not have been possible without your continued support and encouragement. My gratitude and thanks goes out to all subscribers and returning viewers. Once again, I thank you very much for your viewership and your subscription. If you have not hit that subscribe button, do consider subscribing to stay updated and informed of my latest video uploads. On today's video, I'm continuing where I last left off talking about Keris blades. I reiterate again, this topic on Keris blade alone is quite broad on its own, so I will be breaking it down into sizable chunks so that the video will not be too long and too complex. It will be continued as several short series of videos, not only for ease of reference, but most importantly, so that new enthusiasts to this subject will not be overwhelmed by the mind-boggling and mind-blowing facts related to the Keris blades. If I were to dump my entire years of experience and knowledge to you all at once, this might happen to you. So, to prevent you from experiencing a massive headache, I will do my best to present each aspect at a foundational level. Now, before I start rambling away and going off tangent, let's start today's episode proper. In the previous episode, I shared the basic construct of a Keris blade. Today, we will be going deeper and more specifically into the aspect of Ricikkan, the design elements of the blade itself. Today, I will share the features that are generally present but not necessarily a must-have on a Keris blade. A blade is a product of precision engineering. It is produced by following an established set of design schema. What this means is this, say a specific Keris blade style that is known by a specific name, it cannot be referred to by such a name if it does not bear the features that it is named after. At this point in time, do take a moment to consider clicking the like button and drop me a comment if you are not clear on what I am presenting up to this point. Now, a quick disclaimer, most of the terms I use in this video will be generally referenced from the Malay language from the Peninsular Malay regions, and the Keris examples will be from the Malay Keris diaspora. Areas outside of this region may have their own description in their native local dialect. I will not be covering each of the names given in accordance to each native region, as it would be too comprehensive for a beginner. This video series serves as a basic introduction specifically for beginners. So, For those who are at the advanced stage or with more experience, do take it as a refresher or perhaps as additional new insights from the perspective of another collector. Do share your additional comments and thoughts if you have something to share for the benefit of new viewers. Here's a quick refresher to what was presented in the previous episode. The bilah or blade of a keris in general consists of a tangkai, a ganja, a mata. Next would of course be the presence of looks or possibly without as well. If you missed that episode, you can catch it right here. If you are totally new to this topic, I highly recommend that you watch that episode first. Now, essentially, the naming conventions employed when classifying a keris blade style relies heavily on visible design elements present on the keris blade. The following terms are often used interchangeably in any discourse related to the keris blades, be it Ricikkan, Bangunan, Dapo, Prabots. All these terms, in summary, refer to design elements, specifically named traditional keris blade types such as Saras, Tokcu, Malay, Sempena, and many more will have known design traits that must be present before it can be referred to by such keris name types. All in all, there are hundreds of blade styles named after specific design elements. But not to worry, I will spare you the headache today without adding too much details. Instead, today I will share with you what constitutes a bangunan, build design, or Ricikkan as it is referred to by our Javanese keris brethren. Essentially, these forms the basic of design elements as per image reference here. Of course, this is just for reference sake to illustrate what constitutes as design elements. Each of these attributes have been assigned names for ease of reference. Take note that naming conventions may change over time and dependent on locale. To illustrate this, here is an image from a published journal in earlier years. And here is a well-distributed example from Javanese references. Different locales have different naming conventions, but the stylistic examples are not too far off. Bear in mind that differences in naming labels are not a cause for contestation or debate on what is the right terminology to be applied. The keris is not exclusive to only one set of ethnicity, but rather a shared heritage, regardless of your ethnic stock, so to speak. You may be a Javanese, a Bugis, a Minang, a Banjar, a Boyan, Melayu, Sakai, Siak, Pasai, Singgora, and many more, but we all share a common ancestry and heritage. So, we should be delighted at the notion that this heritage spreads far and wide across Nusantara. We are the natives of Nusantara, and though we may all have our respective native tongue, it fosters a deeper bond through a shared material heritage. It does help to a certain extent, advantages actually, to have respective native knowledge of terminology in the native language of various keris locality. Some terms may not be obvious in its use, but most times it refers to the same parts. For a long time, the West have overgeneralized references related to the keris till it almost becomes an ignorant and denied fact that each locality have their own keris traditions and cultures. This, in my opinion, is the cause for divide even amongst keris enthusiasts today. My take: live in harmony. History has proven time and time again it is almost impossible for any one ethnicity to lay dominant over the other. Empires rise and fall like the ebbing of the tides, but we should be proud that the noble traditions of the past lies preserved in the scriptures that cannot be read by words, but by visual interpretation and understanding. That is the keris. Again, I must emphasize that when studying the keris, we must respect its native provenance, its native origins. We simply cannot dismiss and ignore respective native Keris traditions and culture. For example, a native Peninsular Malay blade, say the Tok Chu. We must pay due respect and recognition that this blade type originated natively in the northern peninsular regions. Already have its respective naming conventions and respective native references to the design elements, specifically in the aspect of its Ricikkan or Bangunan. One simply cannot generalize and apply Javanese references to it in a formal academic discourse setting. That would be downright bigotry and extreme arrogance. What would be fair is to provide side-to-side examples as to show how possibly the design elements could have been applied in accordance to Javanese references. That would provide a fair and level comparative study. A Tok Chu is referred to as such because of these existential elements. Likewise, a Tilam Upeh will be referred to as such because of its respective design elements that is unique to itself. So too, how a Bahari would be referred as such. Now, let's focus on this illustration here. A quick recap. Here is the Tangkai, or the Tang, or the Pesi. Here is the Ganja, or Gonjo, or the Cicak. We are coming to the Ricikkan, or details of design elements now. I will start from the top. Here is the Tuntung, or Hujung Bilah, or also accepted as the Mata Bilah as per my previous video. Here is the Tebing, or edge. Right here would be the Tulang, or the central spine. Here is the Alur, or Aur, balance as per the old Malay saying bagaikan aur dan tebing, polar opposites. Here is the lurah depan, or frontal fuller. And of course, obviously, in opposite, the lurah belakang, or rear fuller. Now, I am going to make a brief mention about fullers. Some in the community will insist that it functions as an element to expedite death by stabbing. Supposedly, when stabbed by a blade with fullers, the gap will allow air into the body as well. Now, for those into the business of stabbing people to death, this is simply not true. Regardless of fullers or not, when you get stabbed, the blade acts as a stopper to prevent blood loss. But once pulled out, the internal and external pressure within the body changes, resulting in blood to flow out from the wound. Either you die from blood loss, which is usually the case in stabbing incidents, or you suffocate likely because your lungs have been punctured. A quick disclaimer, the next few images may be too graphic for some, so if you are squeamish, you can skip ahead. Fullers exist for a simple reason: to lighten the blade, yet at the same time not compromise on the strength of the blade. I will be going more in depth on this topic in a future video. So, for now, we will get a move on. Next, this entire section is referred to as the Kerawang in Javanese. References this area is also referred to as the Greneng. Hence, back to my earlier disclaimer, different areas refer to the same segments by different naming conventions. Hence, having a local understanding and knowledge of keywords would be most helpful. This here is the Duri Penyangga, or the guard stopper. Its practical function is to stop a blade in the event it slides off the edge of the blade. Also, depending on the formation used in silat, this may also inflict serious injury from a very small thorn-like structure. In some specimen examples, there will be a curved tail end, such as the one shown here. This is referred to as the Duri Mengkuang, or Duri Pandan, or Ripandan in some texts. Now, Mengkuang and Pandan are from the same family genus of plants with sharp thorns. Like Pandan leaves are used in cooking, whilst Mengkuang leaves are generally used in weaving of essentials such as the mats, baskets and such. On the opposite, we have the Akut, or also referred to as Belalai Gajah. Peninsular Malay folks will most likely use the term Akut. Next is the Lidah Gajah, the elephant's tongue. Here is the bibir or lips. Our Javanese brethren refers this as the lambai gajah. Over here is the gandek or kendek. Think of it as the base pedestal for the presentation of the main structure. And here is the kepak or wings or kelopak bunga, like a flower before it bears fruits. This is generally the Ricikkan on a typical Malay Keris blade from the Peninsular Malay regions. Other blade styles may have lesser features, but this generally provides an overview of what is meant by design elements and specifications on a Keris blade. This is how a blade is generally classified. We base on design elements the Ricikkan or Bangunan. Again, I emphasize not all Keris designs must have all these design elements present. It is a part of a quantitative study. When we come across a particular style, we will cross-reference against known existing examples and take note of the features present on the blade. And that is how we empirically prove beyond a reasonable doubt that a particular blade type falls into a specific category. Having said that, however, once in a while, we do come across specimens that we have never seen or even have encountered documented elsewhere in our collective library. When that happens, that is where collectors come together to discuss and ultimately the decision by the custodian of that specimen to accept or reject the findings and opinions presented. That is what makes this hobby exciting. Hence, another reason why photographs of rare examples are seldom shared online to prevent duplicates from flooding the market. And also, if ever duplicates are ever produced hereafter, the collecting community will be very much aware of it. Now, having shared all that is related to design elements on a Keris, I hope you are starting to see a pattern here. From the naming conventions used, it is all related to nature, the flora, the fauna, and the environment. This indicates how observant the natives of Nusantara actually is, and this led to a process of learning and application. This results in a remarkable engineering feat with such specific precision that a masterpiece is produced. Now, tell me that is not amazing, yeah? At this point in time, I hope you are all still with me and have yet to experience a massive headache yet, yeah? As we dive deeper into this subject, it is going to get more interesting and confusing at the same time for some. But if you are going to set yourself out to be a serious collector, these are the basic foundations that you must understand and grasp before you progress any further. Enjoy the journey of learning and then pass on what you have learned. Also, I would like to add that this hobby, in a manner of speaking, is race-centric. Now, before you all start to get all riled up, let me explain. This hobby is not easily explored and explained in one sitting. If you are not a Malay and you are not a Muslim, it will be very challenging if you are clueless to the intricacies of Malay culture, tradition, history, and religion. Again, I emphasize that the Keris is a manuscript that cannot be read like that of a book, but rather needs to be interpreted from the heart. You need to have knowledge in your heart before you can appreciate and interpret this craft correctly. In the correct context, of course. Most that are presented today are still only surface deep. There is more depth to the study of this object, so do give yourself some time to absorb what has been presented. From my experience, studying this subject is not about studying the object itself. It expands to the study of the people, the culture, the history, the tradition, and the beliefs. Within this study, I discovered a wealth of sciences, yet it is sad today to see this subject be overly romanticized. Areas that should be given more emphasis and focus are being overshadowed by mundane and insignificant misconceptions. This is where my channel comes in, and with the time I am able to spare for this initiative, I hope my efforts will be appreciated by future enthusiasts. A sad fact, we are all mortals. When the time comes, we will leave. We can only hope that what we leave behind benefit the living of the present. I would like to see more of my fellow Singaporean collectors take the bold leap and jump on YouTube and share your knowledge and experience with everyone. Immortalize your memory before you depart this plane of existence. With each year passing by, we lose more experienced senior collectors. With their departure, we lose intangible knowledge. We should honor their memory by sharing their knowledge with the next generation of collectors who will surpass us eventually. I would also like to take this opportunity to invite local Singaporean collectors that you are welcomed to come on over to my channel as a guest to present your wealth of knowledge. I will be more than happy to guide you along the way. We have come to the end of today's episode. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope today's video adds value to you and that you have learned something from watching this. I look forward to reading your feedback in the comment section, so please feel free to leave a comment. If you like what you have watched today and feel that more useful video guides are required, please show me your support by clicking the like, subscribe and bell notification icon. So, until we meet in the next video, this is Khairi Johari, better known as Pak Jofe, the Keris Collector from Singapore, snapping out. See you in my next video. Bye bye.